Beautiful people, hi. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Living In podcast with Sibahle. I am Sibahle and I am your host. Welcome to my 6th episode. Oh my gosh, we're on episode 6. I'm really excited about that. I want to try out a new-ish format, okay? You've seen the title, you know what we're speaking about, but I want to start off with a little checkup. So I think the new format is going to go like we're going to do a quick little checkup, little pop culture roundup in terms of one thing in pop culture that's been going on, or 2 or 3 that I have a little comments or thoughts on, and then we'll get into the topic for the day. Okay, does that sound good? Because I feel like you guys responded really well to my last episode where we were just chit-chatting and catching up on my life. Catching up on my trip to Rwanda. If you haven't seen that episode, please go and check it out. And so in a similar vein, I feel like we can, catch up and chit chat. So how am I doing? Gosh, how am I doing? I am okay. My sinuses, I don't even know why my sinuses are acting all a fool, but they are, and it's not even spring. But yeah, my sinuses in the past few days have been wrecking me, and as usual, work is crazy. Work is hectic. Like whenever someone asks me, how's your new job? How's work? I'm always like, I'm so busy. It's so busy. But at the same time, it's beautiful, and I love my work. I love the work that I do. I love the people I get to work with, minus one person, but asikolab. And I'm so grateful for this job. Like the fact that God has put me here. Oh my gosh, so grateful. But I'm so busy. And like right now we're prepping for our final year conference, which of course I'm organizing, and it's just been a whole mess. So on the work front, go busy. Yeah, I know, go busy. I blocked Ghana boy. I blocked Uputiwase Ghana that was stressing me in Rwanda, because that day I told you, like, he texted me, and that's why I gotta get up and record this podcast. I never responded to him that day, and I responded the next day, and like he called me saying I was trying to be holy and stuff, and I was just like, you know what, because you're wasting my time regardless. So I blocked him. So that's good. I'm proud of myself for doing that. And last weekend I went out with a bunch of my friends. I wish I had vlogged it for YouTube because it was such a beautiful and eventful weekend. Like on Thursday I did First Friday. Thursday I did First Friday. On Thursday I did First Thursdays, which is like art gallery exploration, and then on Friday I went to silo concerts. There was like jazz sundown vibes. It was so nice. And on Saturday what did I do on Saturday? I know I was busy. Saturday bengosis umdala sasontweni. Growing up as a youth group or whatever, there's always labos abadala that are like out of varsity, bayasebenza, they still come to youth to contribute and help. Like they're those sisters that like abasizayo. So what I'm saying is older sisters in church, for those who don't know Zulu, because I'm realizing I actually need to I have people who watch me from other countries. But yeah, so I am in that phase. I am the adult youth. Because we were doing our year-end, that's what I done Saturday. We had our year-end function for our connect group, cell group, small group, whatever you call it. But like those small groups you get into based off of like the region you live in or the age category you're in, that you get together like during the week after church. Like after the church service on Sunday, you'll get together during the week and you'll read the Bible, fellowship, get to know each other, all that jazz. So my connect group, I'm in one with like a bunch of students and like young professionals, and so for some reason I volunteered to help organize the year-end function. And so I was like, you know what, let me do it. Like it's my first year in this connect group too. I'm new to all of these people. I'm still getting to know them, but like I'm one of the elder people there, and I was just like, you know what, let me do it. And I decided to like things. I decided I want to host it like by the beach, because we always go to parks. People always go to parks. Like, sometimes it's nice to have an ocean view. So I was like, let's do a braai by the beach. The organization showed me flames. To hire taxis, I was up cooking, I was prepping, I was going around shopping. Petrol this month. But I feel like by the end of the day, when everyone was home safe, everything was paid for, people were fed, and I was on my way home, I was like, wow, I really did that. I'm in that phase in my life where like, dang, I don't know, that made me feel so proud. It made me so proud because I'm like, I'm there. I am, and it was mostly students. So it was like, those 40 people that came, I think of the 40, 36 were students. roughly. So it's like you gotta feed them kids, okay? You gotta feed them kids. I don't know why I'm calling them kids, because these are adults. Do you know what I mean? They don't have employment, they don't have cars, they're studying. So I felt accomplished. I felt like, wow, this is some dala. And then Sunday, as I said, I hung out with my friend. We went to a cafe, and then in the evening I hung out with a new friend, Candice Chirwa. She is popularly known as the Minister of Menstruation, and I'm having her on the podcast very soon, so I'm really excited about that. And it's a new friend that I have, and so we met up, caught up, had dinner, and it was just like, I felt at the end of it, it was such an eventful and wholesome weekend. I saw people, I went to experiences, I was responsible. Yeah, guys, like, it's not I'm saying. But yeah, like, it felt very wholesome. I felt like I am living an enjoyable life. I'm being wholesome. My life is full. My life is so full. Lastly, on the catch-up things, I'm running a competition on my TikTok right now, and I'm giving away a suitcase. And the way this started, yeah, when I say God restores, oh, Sana, I had to go for this trip to Rwanda, and I needed a suitcase. I remembered my ex had my suitcase, so I emailed him. This was back before the divorce was finalized. I emailed him. I was like, Chomi, can I get my suitcase? Because he borrowed it to take clothes when he was leaving. And he was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, no. I was like, oh, dude, whatever. Like, I got so annoyed, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna let it go. But then I was like, I need a new suitcase. I went suitcase shopping, and the prices showed me flames. I was like, I never. It's like minimum 3K for a good suitcase, and I was like, it can't be me. So I asked my friend who's the influencer, I was like, dude, how do you like get brands to offer you suitcases? And he's like, you just need to make videos about it. Like, you can't just reach out to them. They need to see that you're like, you know, creating a buzz about it. And I was just like, that feels like begging. It feels like begging. So I made a video about it, and I was raw and open about it. I mean, I opened the video out with like, guys, I lost my suitcase in the divorce. That suitcase, I'd had it since 2014. Literally since 2014. It was that good of a quality suitcase. So I made a video about it, and then people recommended different things, and in the video I go shopping at Luggage Warehouse to like see what they have on store. So eventually, after I made that video, it did like good numbers, like 30,000. So I emailed Luggage Warehouse, and I was like, hey Chomi, do you want to do a collab, like a trade exchange? You give me a suitcase, I'll do a video about it, you know, ching. After some time, I think they took a while to respond. They responded like 3-4 days before I left, and they were like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, baby. So I went in, I got a suitcase, it was great. And then afterwards, they reached out again. They were like, hi, how are you? Great work, love you loads. Let's run a giveaway with you. Let's give away a suitcase to one of your followers. And on top of that, we have a little gifty for you. We've got you you can pick a handbag. And so I picked this cute little polo bag. I'll input a picture of it. So they literally gave me a polo bag. I was just like, guys, this is my first like name brand. Well, Country Road, I guess, is name brand, but you know what I'm saying. So that was really nice, and it's just like goes to show that like God really restores from the position of like someone's taken something of yours, you lost something, and God is like, I will restore above and beyond. You'll get a new suitcase, you'll get a new bag out of it, you'll get a competition out of it. Like, I will restore above and beyond what was taken from you. See, like that verse where it says, He will restore where the locusts have eaten. And my God continues to show me that He will do that, and I was just so grateful. Like, that's just been the evidence of what God has been doing in me, in my life since this divorce. It's every time I've lost something, you know, you lose a companion, you lose a best friend, you lose a partner, and my life has gotten so rich with friendships. These new friends I'm getting, or solidifying the old friendships. It's just like God has really restored in so many ways, and so yeah, it's been great. So that's just a little update. Oh, that was long. I didn't know it was gonna be a whole 10 minutes. I'm sorry, child. I'm sorry, but that's where I am in life. I think also post Ghana Boy, just an update, I did decide like I'm gonna put a pause on dating, just because I wasn't happy in the way that I became so centered around him when he was disappointing me, and I was just like, you know what, I still have work to do. So it was good to learn that. But anyway, pop culture. What's been going on in pop culture? I still have not read the article about having a boyfriend is embarrassing, so I've just been like listening to the think pieces. I think in this season of decentering men, I understand that phenomenon of like women find it so boring when another woman's life revolves around a man, and also like men will disappoint you. Like you will post them, they'll disappoint you. That's why I'll always be the person who'll be like, you never say he could never. He will show you that he can. So in those essences, men are embarrassing. Like, I fully understand that saying that says like being married is humiliation ritual, because some of us lived it. But I'm such a lover girl that like I definitely will never make a man my whole personality ever again, and I'll definitely like not center my content around a man, or You know what I mean? But I still think I would post my nigga. Like, if I was dating, I would still post him. Like, I don't find the concept of being in a relationship embarrassing. I think when it's done in God's way, it's so beautiful. And yes, people will disappoint you, because everyone inevitably does disappoint. But I think it's just not cool to center your personality around a man anymore. Like, you're so much more than that. Like, I am my business that I run, It Live Socials. I am my career. I am my friendships. I am my purpose, like my podcast. I'm my content creation. I am a child of God, before I'm a partner. And so, definitely it's not cool to like center your personality around a man. But I still think there's beauty in relationships, and there's a place for it in the world. And like, I think men will disappoint you, but like, life will disappoint you generally. Like, that's literally what this episode is about. It's about how faith can disappoint you, and in faith disappointing you, sometimes it leads you to losing your faith. And on that note, let's get into it. So this podcast episode is about deconstructing my faith. So I did a video years ago about me deconstructing my faith and that journey that I went on. I've not deleted it, but archived it. Like, I've archived all my old videos just because people are weird in the comments. Like, yeah. But anyway, the catalytic event was like a disappointment that I experienced. And because of that disappointment, I found myself questioning God, and I found myself just like disillusioned with my faith and everything that I've known. I grew up Christian, and I always like put the context of like, my dad is a pastor. I was born and my dad was saved. Okay? So I was raised with the saved Christian of a father. So I was never forced to go to church. I was never forced to do anything. My dad always said, this journey of faith is your own. I would ask him like, Dad, what if I do this? What if I do that? And my dad's like, listen, that's your life. It's your journey. Like, he never forced us to go to church. When we decided we don't want to go anymore at like grade 4, he was like, it's your salvation, child. I was like, But like, I've never been forced into this. I've always like grown up in a relationship with God. It's been beautiful. I had moments of like stepping away. I got saved in grade 7 or grade 8. Grade 7, grade 8, I think I was grade 7. I'm gonna go with grade 7. So I got saved very early, understood the difference between like the works of the flesh and salvation and all of that stuff. And I had a beautiful relationship with God. I mean, high school, captain of the Christian Fellowship Committee, president of youth club at church. It was me. I was praying in the classrooms. I was shanda kara lol. I had that beautiful relationship with faith. And then I've come to understand that like disillusionment with God often comes after a great disappointment. That great disappointment can be death. That great disappointment can be just not achieving something you expected. It can be the end of a relationship. It takes one really big disappointment with God, or like disappointment in not achieving something you expected, and that causes you to be disillusioned, to question your faith. You know what I mean? And I thought like I was so mature in my faith because I'd been doing this for years. But what had happened was I had a plan for my life. I really had a plan for my life. The plan for the life was like, high school, become head girl, go to varsity, go to UCT specifically. I've always been wanting to go to UCT since grade 8. I've been knowing I'm going to UCT, and I went to UCT. Then it was, go to UCT and be an Alan Gray fellow. That was the plan. Whatever, it got derailed a bit. I studied abroad. That was never part of the plan, but it was an opportunity that arose, and I'm glad I took it. That kind of derailed my head girl ambitions. Like, I didn't become head girl because of that. Like, I was a year behind, but I was still a prefect. I was still fine. Got my honors, got my full colors, got all of that jazz. My blazer was impressive. Okay, still captain in hockey, all of that stuff. Cool. Then came time for Alan Gray. Applied, went through all of the interview rounds. If you ever applied for Alan Gray Scholarship, you know how many rounds that is, okay? Okay. Interviews, applications. The application form is like over 20 pages long. My gosh, of essays. I wrote them essays. And I really made it further than anyone else in my high school did. I made it all the way to the final round, which is camp. And then I got the call and I didn't get the scholarship. And for so long, I had built my personality and my ambitions and everything I was doing in high school around getting that scholarship, that when I didn't get it, it was like a blow. It was such a blow. It wasn't really my first big disappointment. I mean, not becoming head girl is probably one like a great disappointment. I lost people, like a lot, but I think that was just something that I'd crafted my personality around for 5 years, like around becoming, being that person. I didn't get it, and it kind of just like, it wrecked me, because at that point I didn't have res. So now I get to varsity, and I was staying in town, and on the map it looks close, but like when you're actually here, that's 2 bus rides away from campus 3. I had to take 2 my city buses in the morning and then the UCT jammy to get to campus every single day. You can imagine how long that took. Like, because you're not staying on campus, you don't do first year activities, so you don't make friends as easily. Like, first year was just such a schlep. And of course, UCT and Cape Town is just notoriously hard to make friends. So it was just, life was rough, man. Life was rough. And a large series of events just resulted in me losing my faith. And by losing my faith, I never didn't believe God was real. That nothing you could do could convince me God isn't real. Okay, I felt him. I have felt him. I've been through too much. So I didn't stop believing in God, but I stopped having interest in pursuing a relationship with God. He was a present force. He existed. Cool. But I wasn't interested in cultivating a relationship with him. I wasn't interested in being sold out for him. It just did not interest me anymore. And so that's where I found myself. And that's a hard place to be when you've built your whole life and your personality around being a God girl. You know what I mean? That was who I was. I was a God girl. So even music, I didn't listen to secular music really. Just Beyonce because she's queen. But what music did I listen to? I listened to Christian music. I didn't have a personality outside of my faith. And so that was devastating to me when I decided to walk away from being sold out for God. I wasn't even drinking. I did first year and I was sober for Jesus. And eventually, somewhere through varsity, I was just you know what, whatever. And as I say that, I was still going to church, so it's not that I wasn't I didn't believe in God. I always believed in God. I just was no longer interested in being sold out for God and living a life actively pursuing him. And I found myself in a space where I was just disillusioned. And then years later, losing my mom, that made me do a hard from God, because I was what do you mean? What do you mean? So that was even more devastating. And I think that's also a really hard space to be in, where it's not even you're angry at God. You're just disillusioned. How do you heal from disillusionment? How do you heal from this numb state of being disappointed? It's so difficult because it's so much easier when you have a passionate feeling one way or another. And so when I decided to come back to God, when I decided to pursue a relationship with him, there are certain things that helped me get there. And I want to share those things. I want to share the road that I walked to help me get back to where I am, where I'm reading my Bible every day, where I'm praying, I'm in a relationship with God, I'm walking with God. It took a journey. It took a long time. It didn't take even a year. It was years of slowly coming back. Because even when I was coming back, I was trying to be tentative about making sure that I come back in a way that isn't reinforcing religiosity in terms of you must read your Bible every day, these strict things that may end up making you feel this is how you are righteous. You're righteous by faith and not by your works, but you still end up cultivating habits that are good, because it's good to read your Bible daily, because that's how you get to commune with God. But sometimes it gets warped in your mind and it becomes you read your Bible daily and that makes you holier than others, there's a self-righteousness that tends to creep in sometimes also. And trying to find your way back to God such that you have an earnest relationship with him, but also not living in self-righteousness is so difficult, because you don't want yourself to feel your relationship with God is predicated upon anything that you do. You're going to church, you're tithing, you're whatever it is. But also I needed to repair the hurt, because I did feel hurt. There were disappointments I had, the valid disappointments, and I felt hurt, and I needed to reconcile those in my mind. Because how do you reconcile that when God has hurt you so much? The one thing that I found so helpful, and I'm going to read for a large portion of this part of the podcast, a Bible plan on the YouVersion Bible app, and it's called It's Not Supposed to Be This Way by Lysa TerKeurst. So number 1, the story we tell ourselves. We praise God when our normal looks like what we thought it would. We question him when it doesn't, and we walk away from God when we have a sinking suspicion that God is the one who set fire to the hope that was holding us together. You praise God when life looks normal, when life looks like how you expected it to be, and you question him when it doesn't. But when you feel like he had a part to play in setting it alight, or a part to play not stopping it from setting it alight, you walk away. Even the most grounded people can be hijacked by the wind of unpredictable change. I make such big assumptions of what a good God should do, and I find myself epically disappointed when the winds change and nothing at all feels right. How would you describe your version of normal? Write a few words down that come to mind. Then, how is your view of God impacted when reality doesn't align with the way you'd like normal things to be? So what I wrote was, my version of normal is happiness to parents who live till 80-ish, long enough to be a grandparent and see you grow. Linear study pathway with no failure, leading to the desired job that pays well and is fulfilling. Health, a happy marriage with minimal issues and two people being in sync. A balanced lifestyle, working out, eating healthy, being spiritually fulfilled, having fulfilling friendships, and making money. Common sense, I thought it was normal. Hard work leading to reward, i.e. 1 + 1 = 2. Reaping equally as you have sowed, and justice and equality is what I thought was normal. Then how is my view of God impacted when reality doesn't align with normal? My view of God is impacted in that I feel like God is not fair. He has favorites, he does not love me, and he does not answer prayers. That he is not true to his words, and that God hurts me. Day 2 of the plan, it speaks about disappointment isn't proof that God is withholding good things from us. Sometimes it's the way of leading us home. If we don't open up a way to process disappointments, we'll be tempted to let Satan rewrite God's love story as a negative narrative. His plans are good, even when circumstances don't feel good. This part, Pastor Darius Daniels is speaking about how, like, some people, you will live in crisis mode forever because, like, God will be too scared to elevate you to success, because when you're successful, you forget about him. And the only time you ever pray is when you're in crisis mode. And so what motivation does he have you to get you out of crisis mode? Because that's the only time you speak to him. That part, I was like, okay, y'all, God, I'm gonna speak to you regardless. Like, I ain't gonna forget you when I'm successful, because I want to be successful. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, whoa, that part. And so it asks us to then list our disappointments. And I'm gonna be so raw in this podcast, and I don't like being raw like this on the internet, but whatever. The question is, what things in your life feel like they should be better than they are? Write out a list and assess them honestly. How are disappointments or unmet expectations affecting you? My disappointments. I feel like, for as smart of a person as I am, hey, humble much, I should be earning more and have a better career. That was my disappointment. Then, God is speaking to me, and the response is like, unfortunately, no one promised that intelligence would equate to high earning. Choosing to enrich myself instead of learning a skill was a choice I made, and I was never promised riches. I'm disappointed in my weight gain and inability to maintain fitness. That was one disappointment. And the response is, if it were easy, everyone would do it. Anything worth having is often difficult to acquire. But also give yourself grace, because the past 3 years have been nothing if not tumultuous. Meeting the love of your life, completing on an honest degree, surviving a global pandemic, losing a mother, grief, losing friends, starting a master's degree, moving in with your partner, deconstructing your relationship with God, losing your faith, financial hardship, starting a job, getting engaged, reconfiguring your master's degree, losing who you thought your father was, becoming a content creator, getting married. So much has happened. Be grateful that your body has kept you going and has carried you through. I feel disappointed in my illness and my lack of healing. And then the response was, God has you in this battle for a reason. This is the thorn in your flesh, assigned to you for a purpose. And I've had to, like, honestly reconcile with that, like, thorn in the flesh verse from Paul, because my sickness and my illness, I've always been a sick person growing up, and I've hated it, and I've prayed so much for God to heal me, and he's just chosen not to, really. And I just had to accept, this is my thorn in my flesh. This is my thorn in my flesh. So day 2 is about writing down your disappointment. So that's what you need to do. Number 1, write down your version of normal, and how does your image of God get affected when your version of normal isn't achieved. Number 2, write down your disappointments. If we don't open up a way to process our disappointments, we'll be tempted to let Satan rewrite God's love story as a negative narrative. And that really speaks about the importance of, like, sitting down and being honest with God. Like, read the Psalms. God, one thing about David and all of the people in the Psalms, they were honest, like, God, hey, la, you disappointed me, you hurt me. And be honest about that. Sit with God and write about it in your journal or whatever, but just be raw with God about it and let him take the hurt from you, like give it to him. And honestly, sometimes he will speak back to you and help you to process it. But if you try to process your disappointments and your hurts outside of God and outside of God's company and his presence, sometimes the answers you will get will reinforce a narrative that is outside of God's plan and desire for you. And that's how the enemy can end up rewriting narratives in your mind. Whereas if you had cried out to God in the secret place, he could have rewritten that narrative in a way that you would have been able to see. And sometimes you wouldn't have gotten answers, honestly, but you would have gotten peace. So work out your disappointments with God. Write them out and work them out with God. And that speaks to the next one. Learn to wrestle well. To strip out the cause of disappointment would also rob us of the glorious hope of where we're headed. We will never appreciate or desire the hope of God, our true love, if lesser love doesn't disappoint. Let the piercing angst of disappointment in everything on this side of eternity create a discontent with this world that pushes you to long for God. Life will always disappoint you here on earth because it is not perfect. It isn't Eden. The Bible begins in the book of Genesis, set in the first Eden, and it ends with Eden being restored in the last chapters of Revelations. The natural result of sin is a world in a state of decay, deep feelings of depression, anxiety, callousness, and quite honestly skepticism about the goodness of God. And I think sometimes it's good to remember that the state of the world is bad. This isn't God's plan. God's plan. This isn't God's plan. God's plan is Eden. And Adam and Eve messed it up. So he never wanted us to experience death. He never wanted us to experience disappointment and hurt. He never wanted us to feel separated from him. But that's the natural consequences of sin and free will that we have been given. That sometimes bad things happen. And being a Christian doesn't mean bad things won't happen to you. Doesn't mean you won't be disappointed. Because others have free will, and unfortunately that free will affects you. Because others can operate in this world. Their drunk driving can affect you. Their infidelity can affect you. Whatever it is can affect you. Their inability to teach can affect you and the marks that you get. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we live in a world where there is free will, and you will not be exempt from it because you are a child of God. It's just the natural result of sin in the world that we live in. And so this part was really helpful for me, because honestly, disappointment is because of unmet expectations, and therefore expect a gap between your expectations and your experiences. Learn to expect it. Learn to expect that feelings will not always not in agreement with faith. How you're feeling won't always align with what is true. Expect it. Expect that your heart will not always work in tandem with God's truths. Expect competing narratives about God's nature. Expect that what you know about God can be questioned through the things you live through, the people that you're existing and the experiences you have. Expect it to be questioned. Expect contrary notions about why God allows things to happen, and expect fear and that things will not turn out okay. Expect it. And when you can walk into a room expecting it, you're not surprised by it, and you are less likely to be disappointed by it. And when that happens, wrestle well. When life puts you in the boxing ring, wrestle well, wrestle with Jesus. So then the question for that day was, how does understanding that we're living between two gardens help you better process your disappointments? What comfort does it bring you to know that God will make everything okay? So what I said was that knowledge that life in this world by nature is the natural result of sin allows me to align my expectations, allows me to expect disappointments, allows me to expect difficulties and struggles between my sin nature and my higher self, and it allows me to expect competing narratives constantly about God's nature. It also allows me to know that I will have to wrestle, and I'll have to learn to wrestle well. The crucial detail for us to have peace in the middle of everything we face is to stay close to God. I cannot preach this enough. I cannot preach this enough. And the verse, and I think I'll do a podcast episode on this, on like my sermon of the year. And it was a sermon preached by Pastor Stephen Frederick in the beginning of the year. And he said, for this year, you need to stick to plan B. And plan B is plan being in God's presence. Because God promises plan B. He promises to be with you. And so above all else, he was saying, don't expect a great year. Don't expect so many goals and aspirations. Have your only goal to be to stay in God's presence. That is your plan for the year. That regardless of what I go through, I will be with God. I will walk with God. God will walk with me. And that is the thing that has kept me going. Like, even in the divorce, the pain, the hurt that I've been through this year, I just kept standing on the fact that, you know what, I am choosing that I'm going to be in God's presence. As much as I'm hurting, as much as I'm going through difficulties, my plan right now is to be in God's presence. And the peace, chomi, you'll never convince me otherwise. The peace that surpasses understanding. As I was telling you, my therapist was shocked. How are you okay? How are you surviving? And I'm like, the peace of God. When you cry out to God, Sana, I'm telling you. We think we want comfort in the I don't know times of life. Comfort is not a solution to seek. Rather, it's a byproduct that we will reap when we stay close to God. So you won't receive the solutions sometimes to life. You won't receive the answers. Like, I will never know why God took my mom. I will never know. And trying to rack my brain around it, the reality of life is that people die. And it's never going to be at a convenient time. And it sucks. And it shouldn't have been this way. And I wish it wasn't. But that's the fact of life. And trying to wrap my brain around it, it isn't going to get me anywhere. Like, honestly, when it comes to my mom's death, I had to sometimes choose to see the good in that. Like, right before my mom died, in December, my mom threw me a party for my graduation. And even at the party, most of the people that were there were her friends, her sisters. She hired a photographer, made sure we all take pictures. Those are the last pictures I have of my mom. And it was like, yo, God, you orchestrated in such a way that, like, I had fresh pictures of my mom before she died. We got to sit around with people. She got to see all of her sisters and have pictures with all of her sisters and see all of her friends, like, one last time before she died. Like, my mom really wanted a Mercedes Benz, and my dad was like, well, buy when he retires, because he was going to retire soon. My mom said, I want it now. And so they got the Mercedes Benz, and my mom died 6 months before my dad retired. So had they waited till retirement, she would not have ever got to drive her dream car. My mom really wanted to travel to Cape Town, and my dad was like, well, do it when I retire. My mom was like, asoze. And they went that year. Like, my dad managed to find money, and they went to Cape Town. And my favorite picture of my mom comes from Cape Town, because she is smiling with such a heart full of happiness. She came back from that trip just raving about how amazing it was, how much fun she had. Had she waited for my dad's retirement to travel, she would not have been able to. And so I see in so many things that I'm like, yo, God, it hurts that you've taken her from me, but at least she got to be happy before she died. It hurts that you've taken her from me, but I also have to see it from the perspective of, there was an episode of Esther Perel's podcast, and she was speaking to someone, and they called in and about disappointments and all of that stuff. And they was saying, the advice she was giving this person for this relationship was like, when you're processing your loss for this person, process what you wish for them. Oh, that wrecked me. And I sat in the car and I wrote what I wish for my mom. Not what I wish for me. Right now, in the state that she is deceased, what do I wish for her? And honestly, my mom had a child that died very soon after birth. I think a few weeks. And this was long before I was born and my brother was born. It was her first child. And so she never got to mother that child. Her name was Nontlante. My mom never got to mother her. So I was like, yo, Mom, I wish for you to be in heaven right now with your daughter. The daughter you never got to mother. And that you get to be with her. Both of my mom's parents are deceased. Like, Mom, for you right now, I wish that you get to be with your parents. You get to be with your siblings. Like, so many of my mom's siblings had passed away. And I wish for her right now that she gets to be in God's presence and be in eternal peace and not hurt and be healed, and to be with her child and to be with her parents and to be with her siblings. Like, as selfishly as I want you now because I need you in this life, what I wish for you in the state that you're in is that. And getting to do that exercise, getting to reflect on my mom's life and the gratefulness I have that, you know, she got to live before she died. That's the only piece I'll get about the situation. And I just have to choose to focus on that. So processing those disappointments like that really helped me. And just knowing that, unfortunately, that's sometimes the only comfort you will get. You will not get the answer of why she went, because people die and it sucks, but it happens. And you can accept people die and walk away from God, or you accept people die and let God comfort you in it. And that's just what I had to do. In that next part, she asked, how might your season of I don't know actually be helping you, not hurting you? And for me, what I wrote was that it's reminding me that I'm not in control and to put my faith in God. Sometimes that season of being wrecked by life will remind you, it would say, actually, this ain't about me. I ain't got it. And it helps you to put your faith in God, because ultimately his plans are so much better. It's helping me trust in the goodness of God, that he will work things together for my good. And I think that's any opportunity that God can use to align you with his will, with his plans, and with his goodness, ultimately is the best opportunity, because it's always better. God's plans are always better than your plans. And sometimes disappointment is just a reminder that you aren't in control, that God has a plan, and that trust in his goodness and put faith in him. Like, disappointment will realign your expectations, it will realign your goals, and it will help you see what your expectations are, what you have your faith in, because what you're really wrecked by, you really had some faith in, honestly. So yeah, man, like that's one of the Bible plans that really helped me to find my way back to God. Like, sitting and doing those exercises of listing my disappointments, listing what I realized as normal, listing ways that I can re-see God, like just really processing what I had unconsciously been believing, and what is actually the truth that God is saying about that situation, that feeling, or that moment in my life. That really, really helped me to process what I'd been through and find my way back to God in a way that was, honest and open and raw, and let God process my disappointments and deal with them, and not just say, okay, I don't have the answers to this. There's some things you will never have the answer to, and it's just peace in knowing that God was working through it, in it. He still did good by my mom in certain ways. I'm sure my mom would still choose to be with me right now, but I don't know, heaven's pretty good, so maybe she'd choose to be there. But yeah, like that really, really helped me. And I hope in some ways that this has helped you. If you're going through a phase of disappointment with God, let it remind you that his plans are better. In my disappointment of my lost marriage, I've been experienced so much restoration in my relationship with God. I've been experiencing so much love in my friendships with people, and I know that his plans are good for me, that he has good plans for me, and holding on to that I know your plans are good. I trust in your goodness, and I trust that you know better for me than I know for myself. And so that allows me to rest in God and trust in him. What a long episode, Bandase. Whoa, I'm sorry, but I hope you enjoyed it, and tune in next time. Hopefully it will be a guest episode. I'm really excited to have some guests along to talk about really exciting topics. If you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comments. Also, please do not forget to rate and review. If you're listening on podcasts, on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please rate and review. That really, really helps me to climb up on the algorithm and helps other people to find me. Comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Share this podcast on your status with other people. Let's spread the word. Let's help people out. And that has been today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching the Live Again podcast with Sibahle.